What's good, football fans? Back at you once again with another video. And coming off of that loss yesterday, to lose to a team that's playing as good as Pittsburgh is, definitely on the defensive side of the ball, and the way that they've been kind of resurgent of late with Russell Wilson at the helm over there as the quarterback, it gives me a couple different feelings. I mean, obviously, it sucks to lose the game, and so many different chances that if things would have went the other way, the football game would have been won by Washington. I definitely feel like they let one get away from them, and there are several reasons why. It's not just one that we can just grasp and be like, this is it. No, there are several. Now, here recently, when we win, I've been trying to do a top 5 breakdown of the plays of the week, if you would. So on the other side of that, when we lose games, I want to come on now and kind of go over what led us to defeat. And in this game, it's a laundry list. I mean, we got drop passes, muffed kicks, 2 of them, couple bad passes, a really crap cornerback, a bad spot, and an offsides on a rookie. That said, let's just hop right into the film. Now, coming into this game, I don't think that I'm by myself when I thought, okay, this is going to be a tough game. Pittsburgh always shows up to play against us no matter if they're good or not. The last few times we played them, their organization has gone in such a different path as ours. Obviously, the last time we played them, they were 11-0 heading into the game, and we came in and punched them in the mouth and walked away with a surprise victory that really nobody but maybe Washington fans thought was going to happen. I'm sure the percentage of burgundy and gold fans probably had this game circled as an L, but all of us thought we'd have a chance in it, and you were all right. But the moment that I knew we were in for a long day was this play right here, and I was cursing Zacchaeus after this play. I tell you, I know that it's not easy to judge a ball way up in the sky, and to have it hit you, at the top of the brim of your helmet like that, not once, but twice. Obviously it has to be demoralizing to him, but, to us as fans, this was like a punch in the gut. And to the team, I can't even imagine what this must have felt like, especially considering the circumstances. The first time they were able to get the ball back, obviously the second time in the second half here, they were not. And, this really led to a certain moment in the game, a certain feel to the game where things kind of shifted a little. In tight games, normally turnovers are the deciding factor. I will say, in his defense, he has done pretty good this season as a returner, and that's probably about the only reason why he didn't get yanked off the field for the rest of the game. The coach stuck with him, and he seemed to get it all back together. Obviously, he was rattled somewhat, especially after the second one. This whole season, I've been taking a look at film after the games, and I've been seeing McCaffrey pop up on film quite a bit, being open, not getting the ball thrown his way. Sometimes it's because the play goes the opposite end of the field, but other times you kind of sit there and wonder if maybe Jaden is just looking elsewhere, especially with him locking in on Terry lately. But this play right here, this should have been McCaffrey's coming out party. This play right here. You really can't ask much more than what he did from this route. His footwork out the block really, really, really set the tone on this route right here for him. And he had the defense beat. I'm really not sure how many yards he could have gotten before the defense would have caught up to him here, because I'm not really sure what that next gear is like for him. We haven't really seen him be able to turn that thing on. But there's nothing but green all the way down that field. And this right here is an outlier. This right here is a bad pass. Now, in Jaden's defense, he does have pressure bearing down on him, and he has to get rid of it. He just lets it go a little bit too long on this one, but it's just too much for it to be within, Luke's grasp. You watch back from this direction, you'll see, he's got 3 defenders right there that are pressing down on him. And honestly, it really does look like Trent over there might be holding right there and obviously getting away with it, with Watt having to be, if you see the way Watt's shoulder is right there, so probably lucky they got away with that. But when Jaden lets go of the ball, you can see the trajectory there. The ball is just a little bit too far. I mean, it's just a little bit too. I mean, there's his hand and there's the ball, and it's just a little bit too far. Watching it real time, you'll see this was real close to being a big play from the 1 yard line. Now, this next play I'm going to show could be marked as both, a bad pass or a drop ball, depending on the final scoring of it. But the ball is behind Terry, who reaches out to get it. And I can't remember if the ball was just moving around inside of his hands and then the defender slapped it away, or if the defender knocked it out altogether there. I could kind of see why Jaden placed the ball there, but at the same time, Terry did have to turn back for it, and I think he was bobbling a little bit there as he went to go bring it in. But this next one right here, this is a certified drop. At first, I kind of wondered if it was a drop or not until I saw the replay, and the ball definitely goes right through his hands right there, and there's absolutely no reason why he should not have sucked that in. Normally, Brown is sure-handed. That right there, though, should have been a catch, and I don't think he would even tell you any different. But perhaps the worst drop of the game was De'Ami Brown's drop right here at the end of the second quarter. And I mean, this right here, you don't get touchdowns gift wrapped to you when you're in the midst of a struggling career like he has been, for obvious reasons in some circumstances. But this right here should have definitely, without a doubt, been a touchdown. It's a perfect right on the spot pass. I don't even know why he jumps up, but it's something about the combination of him not needing to jump but jumping, and then not paying attention to where the ball was heading. Otherwise, he does not pull this ball in, and I do not understand it. I know that he is kicking himself in the tail right about now, looking at this thinking, man, because that should have been 7 points without a doubt. These are the kind of things that Adam Peters will remember when it's time to re-sign this guy. This guy's going to be wanting a contract real soon. A big story that's probably not being talked enough about is the state of the offensive line in Washington. Last year everybody talked about how horrible it was. This year you can see it's a lot better. A lot of that has to do with having a quarterback in there that can get rid of the ball and move around in the pocket. But in this game right here, Andrew Wiley wasn't available. Biadish, the starting center, went out for a couple plays with a knee issue. And Pittsburgh is one of the better teams in the league at bringing pressure. And I'll tell you, this play right here, the pressure really changed the play without a doubt. And then I think Jaden got caught up with thinking, okay, should I run right here? Which he probably could have gained quite a bit of yards right here. And I think that he decided against it and thought, okay, maybe I could just move out to the side and let go of it. But in the process, he also was running against himself or across himself right here and had to throw back across. And the ball ends up trailing just a little bit. And the defender is able to get up in there. And to be quite honest with you, at first I thought that maybe that this was, a situation where it was just a good play by the defender. But in honesty, when you saw the replay, you saw the ball go right through Luke's hands. He should have made this catch. But make no doubt about it, they brought pressure, and Jaden was able to move around and try to make something of it. Ball went through his receiver's hands. This play right here, Zach Ertz should have had this catch. I have no clue why he didn't. I think maybe he was already thinking about where he was going with this catch right here and not trying, to finish the catch itself. But ball hits him right in the hands, and he drops it. Now, this was another situation where at first, when I saw the play, I said, man, is JD having an off day here? Because it looked like his man had to stop and come back, which, seeing the replay right here, this definitely confirms that, yes, he did have to stop and come back a little bit. But I do believe if he would have thrown it longer, the other defender back here on the back end, the safety back here on the back end, would have been able to make a play on the ball had it been a long ball. So he threw it a little bit shorter, tossed it up one of those 50-50 balls. And, like I said, at first I was like, oh, man, what the hell? Why couldn't he get that? And I thought, okay, the defender was able to make a good play on that. But when I watched it back, I was able to see that it was a perfect pass right into his hands, and it hit him right in the helmet and bounced away. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, JD really was getting like shitted out of some plays here, because these balls are right on point. It goes right through his hands. Now the defender is right there, so he's playing it tight, not trying to trying to not give that man his credit, because he's definitely playing that tight in between. But that ball should have been caught. Now on this play right here, this one to Noah, this one is JD's fault. This one's Daniels' fault. He threw it way behind his receiver. And I know why he did that as well, because had he led the receiver, that could have turned into an interception. So he had to throw it back a little bit, and Brown appears to have over pursued it a little bit and then slid in the process, and the ball was just, too far back behind him a little. So I think this one you could probably put on Daniels. Same thing on this play right here, with Zacchaeus being public enemy number 1 after his 2 muffs. Of course, my first thought was, oh man, come on, 14. But when you see the replay back, you can't help but see that the ball was too far over. It was too far out in front of Zacchaeus, which sucks because he had a step right here. There's no doubt about it. All right, my next concern in this game, and the next reason why the burgundy and gold took that L, Benjamin St-Juste. I swear this dude is the bane of my Sunday existence. No matter what this guy's doing, I'm always questioning it. I see the 25 and I'm immediately ho-humming like, oh my gosh, here we go again. I was going to do a feature on this guy, I think last season, because there was a lot of people that were trying to stand for him. I mean, what the fuck? But there was a lot of people that were trying to stand up and say, hey man, St-Juste gets a bad rap, dude. He's really a good player. He plays guys tight. Yeah, he's handsy, but you put a big guy out there, he's not supposed to be our number 1 cornerback, which I get. Problem is that he's been playing as the number 1, and not all the time has he been going against the number 1 receivers, but the outcome most of the time is the same, and it never changes. It's like, somebody's got to tell this guy by now that you are not allowed to grab the players before the ball gets there, especially when you're the cornerback and it's that easy to see. At any rate, this was called pass interference, and spot a foul penalty, right? Which brings me to case number 2 with Saint Nowhere. This dude, I swear, is he paying attention to anything? I mean, Mike Williams, been in town, what? I don't know, 4 days? I mean, they traded for him on a deadline. So what, 3 or 4 days? Been in town long enough to have dinner at Russ's house. Talk about what they might do in situations at the end of the game, right? Stuff that's not exactly hard to figure out in your brain, right? But if you're Benjamin St-Juste, are you telling yourself that you should stick in and try to play a certain way on him? No, you just let him blow right past you. And once he's on the other side of you, and he's sticking his hands up to make the catch, and you see that you're playing, you're not even playing the ball at any point in time here. But yeah, man, I mean, Mike Williams is just allowed to just make that catch, and he kind of reacts after the fact to it. But this right here is just case in point. This guy is horrible. He's not good. He should not be the number 1 cornerback on the field for Washington. When Lattimore comes back, I think we might see less of St-Juste altogether. A lot of people had thought, well, that'll give us a chance to see Samuel in the slot more, and that's a possibility. But don't rule out the fact that we might see Samuel still on the outside and see Lattimore on the outside and see St-Juste kind of shuffle to the back of the pack. The guy is not good. I mean, if you ask my opinion at this point, he's like burnt toast on the menu. I'm honestly having a hard time understanding why he's seeing the field this much to begin with. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that his skill set is something that's sought after, but he's just not good. Just imagine a world where they would have taken Joey Porter Jr. instead of Forbes and put him and St-Juste lined up next to each other. I've heard Washington fans talk about this for a couple of years, and I can't imagine. You imagine all the DPIs we'd see, all the freaking laundry on the field from all that? I can't. I mean, I can see what people say when they say, hey, well, at least Porter's good. Hey, I'll give you that as far as who's better, him or Forbes. I don't know what Ron was thinking. Like, first round picks, I think the guy was a bit of a stretch, but hey, you can't fool the tape, man. The tape shows that he should not have been taken in that round at all. All right, so after looking at the Mike Williams touchdown, the next play that I think was a killer for us was definitely the bad spot, the pass to Zach Ertz. And, you know, I know that there's a whole contingency of Washington fans that they never want to complain. They never want to say anything's wrong, anything to that nature at all. But I think we all can agree here that the first down marker is at the 41-yard line. Now, I'm not going to stretch that yellow line across the field because we also know that that's considered not official. But we can see the first down marker is sitting on the 41. That is visible. And we can also see that Ertz sticks his knee to the ground and makes the catch right there. Now, what we don't see is the close in, how far over the hash did he go? How far, into the field between the 41 and the 42 did he go? We don't see that. What we do see is that he tried to fall a little bit backward, but it didn't work, right? Or he tried to stick the ball backward a little bit, didn't work. My whole thing here is that it was closer to the 41 where he went down than it was the 42, okay? If you watch it back from the other angle, you'll see what I'm saying here. It was closer to the 41. You can see there's the knee. Okay, he leans back a little bit, which means the ball is not where the knee is at this point. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the knee goes down. It's where the ball's at, correct? So if the knee's down, he's not touched, but then he moves the ball backwards towards the 41, and then he is touched. The ball's down at that point. So in my opinion, this is a crap call because they marked it right there on the 42. I thought it was a bad spot. I realized then you start messing with you can't change the call on the field unless it's clear and all that crap. But this was a bad spot, and this was a play that definitely changed the outcome of the game. Which brings me to the obvious play of the night, the one that I know a lot of people immediately blame for being the fact, Washington lost this game. And I'm going to stop short of that because keep in mind now, this was fourth down. They were just trying to get him to jump, and he's a rookie. And, I actually believe that he saw his own man move, and that's what caused him to jump. As you see right there, at first I didn't see it, but I believe that's Fowler. Fowler went to go stick his arm down and go into 4-point stance. And I think that he just saw it out of the corner of his eye or something. I don't know. He just wiggled a little. They were going to have to punt right here, or they were going to take the flag and then punt it. So Washington would have still had to drive the whole length of the field. So to me, yes, this was the factor that gave Pittsburgh the ability to run the clock out and end the game, meaning Washington didn't have any more chances after this, right? So it's easy to say that this is what caused the problem at the end right here. I mean, it's wrapped, it's a present, it's right there. But all of the other things, in my opinion, if they would have went the other direction, would have led to Washington not having to be in this particular situation. One other thing I want to talk about, that Pickens kid from the Steelers, who is obviously supremely talented, right? I was looking over St. Juice's film, and I just happened to see this right here. I mean, stop me if I'm wrong, but isn't that leading with the helmet right there? And St. Juice turns around and looks at him like, hey, man, what the fuck's your problem? Watching. Yeah, I mean, he tries to jump up right here and hit him with his helmet. Now, that play wouldn't have meant a single thing to me if this play right here didn't happen further, along in the game, and then make me kind of backtrack a little bit when I saw the film with what happened with St. Juice. As you can see back here, these two guys just start going at it after this interception. Jeremy Chinn makes the pick right here, which, yeah, Jeremy Chinn's been bringing it the last 2 weeks. But after the Jeremy Chinn interception, Sanderson tries to block Pickens right here. And I mean, Pickens grabs him and suplexes him right on the ground and then ends up over top of him. I swear to you, it looks like he was choking him or trying to do something to him. And as you can see, the ref tries to go over there and stop it. Now, obviously, we can't see it all up and close and personal on this film right here, but the ref had to pull him off of Samerstill. You watch it back from his direction right here, you'll see what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he makes the pick, and then Samerstill steps back up to block, and Pickens just grabs him, and it's almost like he like, I don't know, like invertedly bulldogged him to the ground, and then just dives on top of him and starts choking him out. It's kind of wild. Like, they went all UFC like all of a sudden. But after that, I started noticing a little bit more. Like on this play right here, after Pickens makes this catch, watch how he jumps in the air and dives into St. Juice's face mask, and then proceeds to just push him up into his face mask the entire time. No flags are thrown right here. Like, to me, he got away with a face mask right here. Like, a pretty vicious one too, down here by, within, what is that, the 14, 15 yard line? That's of the 15-yard variety. That would have pushed them all the way back to the goal line. So to me, that's a pretty big non-call right there from a guy who quite obviously was trying to start some shit right there. And you can see the rest of the defense all saw it and jumped in on him. Of course, they were just trying to make sure that he didn't break that tackle and scale the freaking sideline and take off. But they had a few more plays like this, they were after the whistle that definitely went a little chippy. You can see Luvu over there kind of like spotting up on him like for a second, and maybe immediately trying to jump in between, honestly, playing the role of a captain right there and making sure nothing else happened. This is another play that I definitely wanted to make light of. The team was down here on like the 2-yard line, and this play right here could have really turned bad. And Pittsburgh was bringing it on this play right here and just about got Jaden. Had Jaden not been able to just toss that kind of 3/4-ish around Watt right there, this would have been a safety, because he had guys pressing down on him on both sides. And Watt is like a heat-seeking missile at times, man. This dude just knows his way around NFL backfields. And Trent over there, he's just a mark at this point. There was nothing that he could do to catch back up to Watt. He was already kind of backpedaling and lost his balance and everything else. And, those offensive linemen already have issues with Watt to begin with. And you got that man backpedaling. He's never going to have a chance there. On the other side, Hightower just bullies right over top of Brandon Coleman. But what really happened was Coleman and Algretti get tied up right there, and Coleman steps on Algretti's foot and falls over. It's not really so much Highsmith as you might think immediately, but they step on each other's foot right there, and it definitely causes the issue, as you see. Washington was really lucky not to give up 2 points right here. Same thing right here. They were getting ready to go to a nice little screenplay. Pittsburgh saw it, timed it perfectly, and blew it the frig up. I mean, there's just no better way of blowing something up than blowing it up like that. Like, everybody was on him. Thankfully, JD had the presence of mind just to throw it at the ground. And another one. This right here is just another example of him throwing it away. He had no choice in the matter. At one point in time, you could count 6 guys that are working lanes in position to take a shot at him whatever way he goes right here. And as you see, Watt was able to step in. And I don't know why there was not a penalty flag thrown right here. There's a freaking ref standing right there. How in the hell did he miss that right there? I mean, that is an obvious late hit. I mean, it's obvious to me anyway. Could have pulled up. And of course, Daniels did take some sacks. And make no mistakes about it, they all definitely hurt them each individually. Former Redskin Preston Smith got one too, but I think his was more so academic than anything. Because if you watch this play right here, like, JD is kind of looking for the ground, and Preston is just the guy that touches his ankle that gets the credit for the sack right there, even though there were guys everywhere. JD was already looking for the ground, and 91 got credit for that sack, which, to be quite honest, 95 should have probably gotten credit for that, but 91 gets credit even though he didn't do anything. Now, there's more of a reasoning behind why this sack right here happened. Biadish should just come back in the game And he just flat out misses Hayward here. Like, he just does not get the block that he's supposed to get here, misses it fully. And Hayward, you know, he's got a history of doing this. He makes teams pay that don't pay attention to him or that don't account for him. And he's able to get his hands on JD and bring him to the ground. You know, when you factor in everything we just looked at, and then you look at the third down efficiency, which Pittsburgh was able to get 7 of 16 for 43%, which is really not knocking it out the park. But Washington was only 5 of 14 for 35%, which was one of the worst days that we've seen from this team this season offensively. You know, they were one of the top 3 offenses all year long in yards and, you know, one of the top rushing teams. This game, they only were able to get 242 total yards. That's net yards. And that's including 60 yards rushing. And that's really the tail of the tape right there. The team has definitely struggled without Brian Robinson Jr. in the lineup. I mean, you can make an argument that states that maybe they were holding Daniels back a little bit as far as going through their normal playbook and doing what they would normally do each week. Maybe they were trying to hold him back a little bit for the Philly game coming up on Thursday on the short week. But I definitely felt like they used a more conservative playbook against Pittsburgh, knowing the type of defense that they were up against. I know a lot of people like to bring light about the referees whenever Pittsburgh's playing. But in this game, truth is both teams had 5 penalties. Pittsburgh actually was penalized for 49 yards, Washington for 41. I think one of the wildest things for me is that the team didn't have their starting kicker, but the kicker that they basically signed off the practice squad, a guy who hadn't kicked since 2021, came in and nailed a couple kicks. It was never on my mind, okay, well, this guy, he might miss his kick. That never entered my mind when he stepped up and hit those 2 field goals either, which is odd for me after having so many issues with kickers. In the end, though, probably the biggest stat across the line was time of possession. Pittsburgh held the ball 36-11, Washington 23-49. And that really says it all right there. You know, they ended up with 43 rushes for 140 yards to our 22 for 60 yards. You know, when you're built on a rotational rushing attack and you don't rotationally rush it well, you're probably not going to win many games. But anyway, without a doubt, the player of the game in this one was definitely Terry McLaurin. He was targeted 6 times, made 5 receptions for 113 yards. One thing I've noticed, though, is that he doesn't really have finishing speed. Like, he hit those long balls, for some reason, he gets caught from behind quite a bit. But anyways, they got the short week this week, playing Philly on Thursday. You know, coming into that game, obviously Philly has first place. Washington really needs that win. It's an important game, probably the biggest game of the season so far. And with Dallas and New York kind of looking like they're already out of the division race, it definitely could be the first battle of who's going to be the winner of the NFC East this year. And with, you know, both Dallas and New York already kind of bowing out already at this point in the year, this game could set the stage, you know, for an NFC East battle come later on in the end of the year when we play Philly for the second time. Because the NFC East is definitely looking like a 2-team race at this point. A win on Thursday would definitely secure Washington's place in that race. At any rate, let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments. And do me a favor if you would, reach up there and hit that thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed and you're still here, what are you waiting on? Reach up there and hit that button too. Y'all take it easy. Peace.